All right, Noel boys, we got to start here. Florida State at number 6. Tied for number 6 with Oregon in the AP Top 25 final voting. Solo number 6 in the coaches poll. Number 5 in the CBS Sports 133. Danny, what's up with this disrespect?
So people don't like Florida State personally. And I think it plays out in a lot that comes out. Coverage of the Seminoles.
Who are these people who don't like Florida State?
Oh, I could give you a laundry list.
Let's hear them.
And they would never admit to it.
Let's save it and do the full segment on it later. We can get 8 minutes on that easy.
Wait,
and
so
I
Florida, Georgia, Miami.
It's a conspiracy, Chip. It's a conspiracy against Florida State.
No. I'm saying people that matter. And I don't think Florida State fans do themselves any favors. I mean, there was an article written, multiple people ran with the story, that Bill Hancock had to hire security for every committee member because there were death threats from Florida State fans.
Oh, they notified the Federal Bureau of Investigation.
Right. So, I mean, it's not, and I would question how many of those people actually went to Florida State. I think it's a lunatic fringe. I don't think anybody would say any of that's acceptable. It's ridiculous. But I mean, I talked to a lot of people, like, because I would ask me. I said hi to a lot of former friends and colleagues that covered Florida State. Like, hey, and like at first it was, hey, can't believe what happened, and then it was, whoa, your fans, got to tell them to chill out, which I would absolutely do that. But I think all of it combined. I mean, didn't Feinbaum, who again, I'm not taking him as a person that I respect many of their opinions. But wasn't he the one that said, hey, it's no secret that no one likes Florida State and that because of them rattling the cages about the ACC leaving the conference for the past year, they've been one that's been very more vocal and been brash, that hasn't done them a lot of goodwill. So I think absolutely if you're a voter that's voting on a top 25, you're like, serve those guys. They got smoked. Let's put them down. Let's ding them for it.
I don't think there's a grand conspiracy against Florida State. I did get a huge chuckle out of the idea that Alabama fans would not do the mean emails that Florida State fans had. I'm like, didn't y'all have somebody who literally poisoned Auburn's historic tree? Haven't y'all had multiple murders that get rid up in like New York Post over arguments over football games? So, yeah, not totally buying that. Like, it's really life or death for those folks. Literally, in some cases, for Auburn fans, unfortunately. So, that was kind of silly. Look, if you want to hire security, right? It's CYA all the time if you work for a big corporation. So, probably just smart to do. I did get a chuckle out of the coaches who voted Florida State the worst.
Good. I was going to bring this up. Why does Ken Wilson?
You know what? Most of these guys absolutely suck at their jobs, right? More than half of the dudes in McMurphy's tweet who voted them the worst, they're fired. And a couple more are lame ducks who all the other coaches at the commission are assuming their jobs are going to open. So I don't know what it is about like coaches who just got fired really hating on Florida State. Like that is a notable thing. Ken Wilson, gone. Dana Dimmel just got fired. Or did he retire? Yeah.
Maybe Dana listens to the show and heard us bitching about him all year against him. He's like, you know what? These Knowles.
Yeah. Again, all right. So let me provide
some Gonzalez.
Fired. So this is ridiculous. Ken Wilson.
Billy Napier, not yet. Okay.
But look, Ken Wilson has him at 12. That is bananas. 12 is a disrespectful, like IDGAF ranking. That team went 13-1, and they got beat by 60 in the Orange Bowl.
They did.
But they won 13 games.
Well, the team that went 13-0 didn't really get beat in the Orange Bowl.
Does not
the
matter.
School name.
But I think that played a role in it too.
Yeah,
like, sure. I think if you're a coach and you're looking at how that ended, you're like, man, we'll have more on that in the Fernelli's.
The coaches who just got fired because they couldn't even make a bowl definitely would have got all their players to play in a meaningless bowl game.
Yeah,
sure.
All right. So
Anyway, no, I got
I
a
don't
good
think a
chuckle
lot
out
of coaches watch a lot of other games outside their conference or their opponents. And when it's bowl season, maybe they do get a chance to flip it on and they're saying, how the heck was this Florida State team?
Oh, these guys suck. Yeah.
I'm not joking either. I don't think they pay attention, and that could be influenced there.
So Danny Gonzalez, as you mentioned, New Mexico, that's another example. But Mark Stoops, the head coach at Kentucky, somebody who, like, was Mark Stoops ever named as a candidate or at least thought of as a potential Florida State head coach?
I remember his name coming up. I don't know if it was from the administration.
Yeah, he's got him at number 10. Kyle Whittingham has Florida State at number 10.
That's right.
But that's not the real blood on the hands, okay? Terry Bowden putting Florida State at number 9.
Hey.
Good daddy wrong.
Exactly.
Terry Bowden's been fired for a month, right? Like, or is he still like? Are we sure Terry Bowden turned this in, or does SID just like Christmas tree this thing? I don't know.
Your name's by it, Terry. Come on.
On a couple of these guys, I always kind of wonder, like, okay, who did they try to prop up who they beat? So they can be like, we beat a team that finished, top whatever, right? Like, who did Kentucky beat to where Mark Stoops has them? You see what I'm going with this?
Uh-huh.
Like, some of these guys, they didn't beat anybody. Ken Wilson didn't beat a damn thing. Neither did Dan Demmel. But, like, so Mark Stoops had Missouri and Ole Miss ahead of Florida State, two teams that are in that league.
Yeah.
Kentucky lost to Missouri, so that looks a little better when multiple of your losses are to top 10 teams. Not that those teams didn't deserve to be in the top 10, certainly. Who else we got here?
Billy
Jeff
Napier.
Traylor, they didn't beat anybody to be. Again, who's coaching Florida in 24? I don't know. I'd lay a good dollar that it's not Billy Napier.
Again,
what about
CBS had him at 5?
Whittingham. A lot of it is I don't know. Who did? All right, so Whittingham got Arizona in there at 11th. Okay, so that's pretty high, but not ahead of FSU.
Oh, never mind. We had him at
Whittingham
6.
also had Texas 8th.
That's ridiculous.
Like, we're dropping you to 8th because you lost a playoff game?
To be
By
fair,
one score?
In my ratings, Texas was 7th before the playoff.
I mean, we got
Alabama was 8th.
He has Alabama 7th.
Yeah.
Is Ken Wilson?
It's kind of a nutty ballot by Whittingham.
Oh,
he has Oregon 4th. Okay, there it is. Okay.
There we go. Okay.
One of our losses
Prop
by
him up.
Whittingham voted for him.
Mm-hmm.
Lost to a top 4 team in the final rankings. Okay, figured it out.
All right. Well, now we know that he'll be propping up Kansas State and Kansas as Utah makes its move on to the Big 12. Just some interesting ballots there from some of our coaches. Again, the coaches' ballots are only revealed at the beginning and at the end. All the midseason ones are not revealed, so it's our only time to look at it. AP voters, they have to deal with us all year long in poll attack, not Gary Parrish's poll attacks, former column, but in poll assassin. Shout out to the Eye on College Basketball Podcast. Go there for all of your college hoops fixes.
Do we at least want to mention Georgia finishing ahead of Alabama?
Oh yeah.
Well, the games have to matter, right?
Hey, if they faced off on a neutral field, Georgia would still be favored.
I'm just saying, it's
not what they tell us.
I just think it's funny because, like, Texas sits at 3, even though it has 2 losses ahead of Georgia. But Alabama with 2 losses falls behind the Georgia team that it beat. So it's like, I don't know why the voters were more punishing of Alabama. I feel like that is the exact opposite end of the spectrum of what we just talked about with Florida State. With the coaches, there are plenty of media people who were pissed off about Alabama being in the playoff, and they punished them for it too.
Oh, by the way, Whittingham snuck Northwestern in at 24.
Hell yeah.
Of course he did.
I love this guy's ballot. This is just absolute. But he didn't have Utah in there, so he didn't vote his own team in.
Rat poison.
Yeah. Who else does he have in here? Okay, left Liberty in, Tulane's in, Iowa at 19. Okay, Clemson 18. It's an interesting ballot. Okay.